Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 136. When we last left our heroes, we arrived on the sand planet of Sandra. Great naming going on the Aoi Cosmos saga, by the way. This sort of very like Middle Eastern, specifically sort of like early Middle Eastern inspired world, where Laguna has some history. Laguna has overheard the group wanting to stop Shura's robot genocide, and has offered to take them to some old allies of his, which we soon learn are the rebel group Oasis, that Laguna has some kind of history with, and that are trying to take down Poseidon Nero. So yeah, let's jump right on into chapter 136, Goodwin. And our picture here is of the whole main crew, even less permanent members like Laguna and Couchpo, in very kind of like, generally like upper crust sort of fancier clothing. There's nothing really special. I was trying to when I first saw the cover put like a time period to it. There's something about the way Sister is dressed that feels kind of like someone working a casino, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, it's a cool pick. A lot to like there. Nothing really special, but it's fun. Anyway, we open with a cover page. Continuing the meeting with Goodwin, the leader of Oasis. Who is, again, a giant cat man with a very, like, not threatening face. My name is Goodwin. I am the man who will take down Nero. And Wise and Homer all kind of react a little nervous. He's huge! And Shiki glares at him. Pino just says, large cat identified. Rebecca and Happy also both kind of stare. And I think that there is Goodwin noticing Happy. And yeah, he glares right down at Rebecca and Happy. And Rebecca looks up at them. Well, why are you staring at me? Happy is also nervous. Wait, I'm little, but I'm a cat too, see? And then he just kind of glares at them more. Both Rebecca and Happy kind of cower in front of him. And then Goodwin just grins. And Goodwin kind of starts to, like, freak out. Are you Rebecca Weka from Aoneko channel? No way! Seriously? For real? Oh, but there's the little Happy, your partner, so it must be... Ah! And he's a Rebecca fan! Okay. I sometimes kind of, not really complain, but sort of ponder that, like, not a whole lot is really done with the fact that Rebecca is, like... It feels wrong to call her a celebrity, but, like, a very, very minor public figure who might possibly have some fans in the world. Like, the fact that she's a YouTuber is just sort of, you know, occasionally brought up. But it's never really relevant to the adventures they go on. And so it was really funny to see this giant hulking, you know, behemoth of a man just, like, freak out over meeting Rebecca. And Rebecca and Happy are just like, what? Huh? They're just staring at him. Wise and Homer are just, you know, eyes widened, mouths agape. Pino looks up. Ibaraki, the fish pompadour henchman from last chapter. Boss? And Goodwin just goes on, I'm a huge fan. I watch all your videos. And Rebecca's just, wow. Remember that one? When you were going to taste test all those spicy soups? It was so funny. You gave up and had to cancel the project after the first bowl. And Wise just looks away. I can't believe we found a fan of those lousy videos. And here. And Homer kind of smiles serenely. There is no accounting for taste. So there's another thing that kind of doesn't get brought up with Rebecca, is that it seems that with Wise's line there, we're all supposed to be under the impression that her videos kind of suck. And until very recently, until like the Mudroll chapter, the only real person claiming that they sucked was just Labilia. And so there was no sense that it was supposed to be... Like, that never felt like Labilia? I forget if there's a definitive answer for the BV question there. Either way. I personally, at least, never really got the sense that we were supposed to take her insults that seriously. I had always figured it was just Lavilia's a dick, and so she's acting like a dick. And the only sense we had that they're bad videos is her conversation with Couchpo back in 134 about, when Couchpo goes on to her for why she didn't use the other part of her adventure on Mudroll as the video. But now that Wise and Homer's line right there seems to be like there's a consensus that Rebecca is not a good beekeeper. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those missed opportunities that at some point Mashima should have like filtered it in that her videos are supposed to suck, given that we never really see them. I mean, we know they weren't terribly popular, but there's a big gap between unpopular and bad. At least I hope so, or else I got something to think about for my channel. Anyway, Shiki comes up to Rebecca. This is great, Rebecca. And Rebecca's just a little concerned. I'm getting mixed feelings. And Happy chimes in. One of our viewers leads a rebel army. And Laguna just sighs. I did not expect this. No. And all the rebels kind of are wondering, that's the boss's favorite beekeeper? What's he doing with Laguna? What in the actual heck is going on? And all of a sudden, Rebecca realizes something. Oasis Cat. Oh! Are you Aoneko? The one that's always donating to my FSC? FSC Financial Support Chat, a function that allows viewers to give gratuities to beekeepers they want to support. I'm guessing that's like a Patreon or a Discord. I don't really use either of those services, so I can't exactly... Maybe it's a mix between a Patreon and a Discord. But yeah, apparently. And then, Goodwin does his little, like, snap finger gun. C'est moi. Wow, thanks for all your support. And we see this genuine grin from Rebecca that makes Pino respond, updating today's best smile. Which I guess is a thing Pino does? I had no idea she had, like, recorded the day's best smile. And Goodwin just continues, of course, you're the best beekeeper ever! And the rebels are just kind of completely stunned at the sudden change of their boss, and Ibaraki finally snaps, Even so, what's the big idea, boss? You been misappropriating our war funds to give handouts to this bimbo? And Goodwin looks down at him. I use my own money. Quit whining. That's actually pretty, like, Ibaraki dresses his concerns up in some good misogyny in there. But, like, Goodwin using their war funds to fund some funny vlogger he likes, is not exactly the best choice when you're a rebel general. Though apparently he does have his own personal funds. Which makes it kind of curious what exactly he did. Like, I can't imagine running a rebel army is particularly profitable. Anyway, Ibaraki continues, who cares? She's fraternizing with Laguna, remember? And then Goodwin finally focuses again. Oh, right. I forgot about that. And he glares back at Laguna, suddenly serious again. And then Shiki turns to Wise, still not quite grasping the situation. He's friends with Laguna and Rebecca, so that means we're frat, and Wise, you just need to shut up. And then Goodwin turns back to Laguna, the miserable coward who abandoned the cause. I didn't think I'd ever see your face again. And then Laguna tells him, this may not get us to Nero, but we have a chance to crush Shura, and we want your help. And Goodwin looks down at him, huh? And Rebecca here joins in on the pressure. Please at least hear what we have to say. And Happy bows. We beg of you. And Goodwin, anything for you, with like a wink and a thumbs up as the rebels all just kind of stare at him. And then he turns back to Laguna. We can deal with you and your failure to abide by our rules later. Laguna just stares up at him, still just kind of glaring. Shiki, and that means we're all friends, right? And Homura stops him. Shiki, do not lower your guard. Despite his behavior, I sense tremendous ether power within that cat. And then we get a look at some of the other rebels, including Ibaraki, a couple humans who I hadn't really noticed last time, my lizard friend and the bunny onesie from last chapter, and a bot that I didn't recognize. And Homer looks around, and the others of his gang. They are strong as well. Shiki responds, yeah, I know. That's why I think if we could all be friends, we'd have powerful allies, right? So he's thinking a little bit with his head, which we did kind of see last time, as he was able to really easily swap between, let's be friends and let's put down the guns now magic. But yeah, that's a good little, that's some more good character beats for Shiki. And Homer just kind of smiles, what shall we do with you? And then we come to the Eden Zero, which is parked sometime out of the main city they're in. And Hermit says, I'm still connected to Pino. So I guess they're all watching the Starshines, and we see Chris and Clean in the background. I'm guessing they're all watching the meeting with Oasis. And Sister looks over some vitals, it looks like. No abnormalities in any of their vital signs. No, wait. Rebecca's endorphin release is a little high. On which laughs, hee. Well, she has found someone who recognizes her after all. And then Chris just asks, so Laguna's from the Aoi Cosmos? And Clean responds, oh, you didn't know? It's a nice little callback to the fact that Clean and Laguna were equals back in their time in the Element 4. Whereas Chris was just sort of like Clean's bodyguard. Anyway, Hermit says, and from the look of things, he was a member of the rebellion, in an organization trying to defeat Nero. And Sister just kind of grumbles, so how did he end up in Draken's gang? Which is definitely going to be tied into that mysterious Laguna line from 133, I think, where he referred to still having some grander motive in the backgrounds. Anyway, who knows? There are still too many mysteries about that guy. Laguna Reno isn't a bad man. I think that's didn't Clean drop that nickname for Laguna one time? Anyway, we see Moscow watching TV. This kind of sort of maybe like Roadrunner-esque cartoon of a wolf chasing a sheep before he is knocked out by a falling rock. Moscow laughs. And then the newsman from 134 comes back in. We interrupt this broadcast for some breaking news. After the temple's announcement a few days ago that the government intends to destroy all machines, there have been a dramatic spike in the number of androids attempting to leave the Aoi Cosmos. And then some human is talking. Of course bots are trying to... is a word on the street segment. Of course bots are trying to leave. Machines can think for themselves too, you know. Is Nero's kid stupid or what? There's no way this is good for the Empire. And his girlfriend says, don't say that, Ko. Or maybe sister, I'm sort of assuming a relationship there. I don't know. Anyway, we see another newscaster who says, androids unhappy with the decision have been protesting in every sector, and we have confirmed reports that some planets have seen armed conflict between demonstrators and the Imperial Army. And we see another word on the street segment who looks like, sort of like a hippie is my vibe. This is God's will. The time has come for humankind to say goodbye to our corrupt and fallen technologies. I mean, I feel like the sort of abandoned technology is a much easier take to have when your technology is not sentient. But okay. Then another reporter says, according to the latest polls, the temple's approval rating is at an all-time low. An overwhelming percentage of citizens are questioning the wisdom of the temple's decision. We see the CEO of Detcom named Rickard. He appears to be a bot manufacturer. People have lost all faith in the android manufacturing industry. This is utterly deplorable. We cannot allow the government to get away with this kind of despotism. There's actually sort of an interesting thing there that's sort of always been dancing around the edges of the series but has never really been brought up, is that androids are man-made, and so there must be people making them. And so, how does how do the, trying to find the right way to phrase this, but how do the, inherent, livingness, I don't quite want to say sentience, but almost the sentience, but more specifically than just sentience, the fact they are alive, kind of meshed with the fact that there are android CEOs, or CEOs of android companies. I don't know. I'm kind of curious if Mashima will kind of address that at some point. Anyway, what will become of the androids that were serving in military and medical capacities? These and other questions only add to the confusion. And then, speaking of Lobelia, we have like a BQ video of her. Honestly, this is so not my problem, but it would be like so awful if all the robots were gone, right? Okay, that's a random aside, especially because this is only really affecting Aoi, and I'm pretty sure Lobelia is still in Sakura. Either way, one of the newscasters from earlier comes back. Androids have become an indispensable part of our community. When they disappear, what will you do? So yeah, I'm glad that Mashima is bringing this up. I'm glad that, like, Nero is being seen as, or at the very least Shura, is being seen as incredibly unpopular by his citizens. This is not, Shura has successfully gotten the human population to be okay with the death of machines. It's like, no one likes this. Shura is doing this for his whole, grand game against Ziggy. But there are distinct impacts on the ground that we are seeing beyond the main characters. And if there's one thing about this saga I really love, it's that we're seeing that. Is that we're seeing the ways that, a government, in this case, the Poseidon Empire, but governments in general, how if their actions, like actions of like shonen governments, which are generally done on the grand scale, like they're an organization of, like, a smaller organization, but this is a government, and the Ocean Six do act like that kind of Akatsuki kind of organization, but their actions do directly impact the people below them. I hope I'm making sense there. I feel like I kind of lost the train of thought, or lost what word I was going for somewhere in the middle there, but I hope that all made sense. Anyway, Shiki has apparently also been watching this, and he's just like bawling. No, I don't want it to happen. I won't let them get rid of you. I will protect you. I promise. And some of the rebel guys are all looking around. I've never seen anybody get so worked up over a news show. It's cute. Ifin so, Ibaraki is just mad, and Rebecca laughs. And Wise and Homer are just watching all this. Still, it looks like there's a fair amount of panic everywhere. Of course there is. And Happy looks up, sad. Killing all bots is just too cruel. Pino also. It makes me sad. And then Goodwin looks down. Well, he's like up on the ledge. Well, this is the one time I can sympathize with Nero. He has to watch his regime lose its influence because of his half-wit son. Not that he doesn't deserve it. There is an interesting thing that I'm imagining Mashima will go into more detail later, is that we haven't really seen what Nero has done, either in general or specifically to the members of Oasis, to, like, push them towards revolution. And that's not really a strike against Mashima yet. I can't imagine that he won't do it. Even just what we've seen in the past couple of arcs make it seem like that's a general theme of this saga. And, I mean, it's also some important backstory for Goodwin in general. So I'm certain we will see it eventually. But keep a note of that. Keep a note that we're probably gonna get there eventually. Anyway, Wise asks, is it even possible for him to kill all the androids in the Aoi cosmos just like that? And Goodwin answers, with all Link it is. And everyone sounds confused at that. There's an ocean spread out across the entire Aoi cosmos, right? Once every few years, that ocean hits high tide, and it swallows up every planet in the cosmos. What does that look like? Like, all we've really seen are just, like, streams of water between the planets. But does that mean the planets just get flooded? Like, what does it look like that an ocean spreads? Like, the ocean has high tide in the cosmos. I mean, it's one of the really, really cool, like, fantasy things Mashima has kind of thought up. But I don't really know how that practically works. And I imagine we will see it if that's tied to All Link, because All Link is kind of the big thing this arc is building towards. Anyway, they say that inside that great sea, ether and electricity combine, and all networks become connected. And Hermit's listening in. That's one ridiculously huge network. But it's true. If they use the sea's ether, they could. And then there's the bunny onesie. That's the all link, yo. One of the Empire's weapons. And Shiki has the exact same thought I had. But wait, wouldn't we all drown first? But Laguna corrects him. Every planet has an ether atmosphere. We never really go underwater. Okay, so that explains it. And maybe like space travel is hampered during that time, but the atmosphere apparently can keep out the water. Okay. Anyway, Goodwin continues. The Aoi high tide hits in 3 days. If we don't stop Shura before then, all the droids will be wiped out of the Aoi cosmos. Well, that sets the stakes. They just dropped that on us. Okay. No. We only have 3 days? We have to stop Shura. Laguna tells him, help us, boss. Shiki uses gravity, just like Shura. If anyone can beat Shura, it's him. And Goodwin looks down at Laguna. We don't need help from an outsider. What? Laguna looks away. And just then, someone comes barging in. We got trouble. An enemy attack. Imperial soldiers in the marketplace. What? And everyone gets ready for a fight. They started hunting bots in the marketplace, and he's like shot in the shoulder as a bunch of soldiers run in. One of the women soldiers, Zoe. As the soldiers all march in. This is it. This is Oasis's hideout. Charge! And we see a whole bunch of what look like bots. They do look like bots to me. They might not be, but they still look like bots. But Imperial soldiers. Ibaraki yells, the idiot panicked and led him right to us. Goodwin calls, everyone, grab your weapons! We see Shiki, Rebecca, Wise, and Homura get ready for a fight. Shiki readies his ether gear. And just with a yah and his gravity, just slams the entire Imperial force to the roof of the hideout. Or at least a good number of them. Because we see the ones the others are fighting are all on the ground. Homura gets a lot out of her sword. Wise starts shooting them all. Rebecca gets some good kicks in. Goodwin just watches all of it. As the soldiers are seemingly all defeated right there. And Shiki calls, we'll talk later. We have to save the marketplace. And some more members of Oasis call, who are these guys? They're tough. And Goodwin thinks back to what Laguna said. If anyone can beat Shura, it's him. And he just kind of says with awe, this kid. And then the chapter ends. Okay. So I am just really loving this arc. This very much has the chance, has the opportunity to be probably my favorite arc in the series, if this keeps up. If it is a larger arc, I will say. If it's just a sort of a mini arc to get Oasis on board with our plan, and then we go to the next arc, probably won't be. But these chapters are great. It's really setting the stakes, doing a good job kind of setting the rules of Aoi Cosmos. We get a cool explanation of the All-Link with this ocean that rises to consume all planets every 3 years, and using that, Shura can destroy all bots. Apparently, though, because the fact that Ziggy baited Shura to use the All-Link, there must be some other piece to it, because Ziggy would need Shura to use that piece. Sorry about that, that's my medicine alarm. Ziggy would need Shura to use that piece so that Ziggy could take over at the last minute. So it's not just that happens and then boom, you can do whatever you want in that high tide period. But we are starting to see how this is all going to work out in the end, in 3 days' time. So yeah. We also see, like I said earlier, some of the on-the-ground response to just what's going on in this arc. I love seeing the citizens and their various reactions to the idea of robot genocide, as last chapter called it. Though, like I said, the hippie does not really seem to understand that bots are alive. Which, again, is sort of a point of contention with many characters throughout the series, so that does make sense. But yeah, I like the idea that, like, this is a decision that is absurdly unpopular by the populace at large. You know, even beyond just the robots are human robots are sentient, living beings with hearts that Shiki and the gang espouse. They're just useful. You know, they can do things that would kill a human, and they can just be repaired. They, you know, the human man says, what will become of the androids that were serving in military and medical capacities? Like, that's a huge swath of the population that's doing important work for the populace. It's just kind of gone. And while it is a big part of Shura's game, it's not something that makes people happy. Like, even if, in the end, Shura has some other plan and it's all a lie, that he is not going to use All Link to destroy the bots, though I doubt that. But it's all just bait. It still leaves people unhappy and untrusting of the temple. Though as I say that, I don't think that it's going to be some kind of trick. I think he is going to try to kill all the bots, and then simultaneously trap Ziggy at the same time. Anyway, with all that, and the explanation of when the All Link will happen, it's time to move on to some more traditional shonen aspects. As a bunch of Imperial soldiers attack the Oasis hideout and attack the marketplace. So it's time to go deal with that. So yeah, all in all, fantastic chapter. Cannot wait to see where this arc goes from here. And yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!